feels near, your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones who'll stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. The chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. There's a fortune in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine.
Okay, and good afternoon, everybody. These candidates are vying for 5 positions for the Feilding General Ward, but with every election, there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your vote. Which fills me with 3 candidates here. Can restore me. And coming here live from the Feilding Civic Centre, would like to welcome to you to It's in the Ballot for the Feilding General Ward. And we've got these fantastic candidates here, so a big round of applause. And I would also like to say thank you to our question host, who is Michael Ford, who will get the mural chains at the next local, squaring in for the local bodies. Thank you for stepping in and supporting our show as question host for tonight.
Great to be here.
Thank you for that. Yes, so definitely a lot of fun on there. You're probably going to have to, and I better put that right background on there. So we're actually not talking about hard-hitting question number 3. If you want to see that question there, you'll have to wait to the end of the show. So first up, let's sit down there and get our opening statements from Raywin. You've got 1 minute on why the Feilding General Ward voters should give you their ticks.
Check. Test?
Yeah.
Right. First of all, I'd just like to honour everyone here today and the incumbent mayor. Congratulations. But about me, so I'm a local. I've been to school here. I went to Lisson Street Intermediate, Feilding Ag High School, and then throughout my employment, I've had various jobs here. One at a local authority trading enterprise, which was Heartland Contractors. I've also served with our incumbent mayor with Feilding Promotion, where I had 11 years service to our community. We did community development, business development, and attracted a lot of business into town. I served alongside many dedicated volunteers during that period, and I really am proud to stand up for our community today. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Raywin. Okay, Daniel, your opening statements on why. I was going to say, oh, your one's live all the time. Ready when you are.
Hi, I'm Daniel. Doesn't sound like it's on.
Yep.
Sorry, my bad. Hi, I've lived in the district for about 23 years. I've grown, lived and worked and experienced a whole bunch of stuff here, and I'm very excited to be putting my name forward. First, I'd like to thank the In the Ballot crew for help setting out, running the show and getting involved with this kind of thing. I've basically just been thinking that we need some positive change, just some more good times, and thinking about what we can do for the future here. Yeah, thanks.
And we'll get Colin's opening statement, please.
Nai mai, haere mai, and welcome. I'm a fourth generation New Zealander and very proud to be a Manawatu and Feilding resident. 40 years in Manawatu and a decade in Feilding. My business and financial experience extends to managing large supermarkets, department store, the plaza, and also 15 years running the arena showgrounds, bringing some very major events to our region, working in with Rob Lester here at Manfield, and subsequently ran a motor inn and hospitality restaurant, and finished my career recently with a stint as a Somerset village manager. Runner-up Village Manager of the Year in 2011. I was also president of the Entertainment Venues Association of New Zealand, and I bring a lot of community experience as well. President, Esplanade Railway. I'm a former Rotarian, Lions, Makino Probus Club. Lots of experience.
Now, we do have two candidates who have put in their video submissions to go in their place. Let's kick off with Grant Hadfield, please. So you know what to do there, Paul.
Look, I'm a former chief executive of a national training business, education and training business in the rural sector. But I've also had experience as an ex-farmer. I've farmed for 10 years, or 15 years. And also in the publishing sector, 10 years, but also rural events management. And look, I'm a critical thinker, I'm an avid reader, I research a lot of topics, and I think that works well for this council role. Yeah, look, I grew up in a household where my father was hugely involved in community service and local government. At County Council for many years, first elected Mayor of Kapiti, and served about 8 years on the Local Government Commission. So I've always had that interest and a broader interest in politics. So yes, I think that's definitely piqued my interest. I've served 6 years on council so far, and what I'm offering is continuity of experience and knowledge of the things, of the actually many issues that council's facing. So I think that's with half the council being new, and me being the only candidate in the Feilding ward standing again, I'm offering continuity and experience. Council faces many challenges from changing central government legislation, including the Resource Management Act and water reforms. Water reforms specifically, opportunity there for us to further the wastewater centralisation, a very environmentally sound project, but also further water security through potable water, and more work to be done on stormwater, which is planned.
Okay, thanks for that. And now let's get on to Sam, was it Hill? My namesake. was it his opening statement?
Kia ora, I'm Sam Hill. Well, a little bit about me. I am half Kiwi British. I have lived in Manawatu over 20 years, but my family roots go back to the Manawatu over 150 years. I work in the area of community health with a side hustle of ecology, and I've led biodiversity projects across the districts, including in Feilding's urban parks and reserves. Previously, I've worked in biomedical sciences, and I've also taught science at Palmy Boys High, and I've got an agricultural background, and my first ever job was on a dairy farm. So why am I running for council? Well, I've had a long-term ambition to serve the community in local government, and now is an absolutely crucial time for our district. We're facing some real challenges, but also amazing opportunities, and I want to be a strong, community-focused voice at the council table. My message is simple. I want to use my knowledge, experience, and expertise to make a strong, positive difference in our district, and I'd be honoured to have your vote.
Okay, thank you for that, Sam, and thank you for taking the time and effort to sit there and do that. Now, so we're going to get to the fun section of the ballot box questions here. So this is where the candidates, now, they've been given a list of what the questions are in advance, because here it is in the ballot. We like them to come out with intelligent, well thought out answers, not sit there and hum and ha for half of their 60 seconds to sit down there and figure out what they're going to say. So we've given them the questions there, but they don't know what questions are which boxes, and they've got to sit there and pick them there. Now, each candidate there has 2 button cards. So if another candidate gets a question that they want to ask, they can raise their button card, wait for the candidate to finish, and then sit there and add their answer to the question. And if the question is a bit too difficult, they can always sit down there and use their defer card, which hands it off to another candidate. So, candidates, are we all good, ready to go? Michael, all the boxes are sealed.
They're definitely sealed, yes.
Okay, and let's bring up random list generator, and it will bring up Colin that gets to go first. What box number? Got between 1 and 28.
16. Now, what do I do now?
What's the letter on the card?
The letter is A.
So A for Alpha,
Yep.
and then read out the question.
And the question is, what political party are you linked to?
Have I got a whole 1 minute to answer this? Yes. Well, no, I'm not linked to any particular party at all. I don't think that in our Manawatu district and on the council that we have a need to have party politics. I'm not in favour of party portfolios or manifestos deciding on how we vote and how we respond. So I'm especially independent. Perhaps I have a slightly left leaning, but I'm very much aware that there are some really good things that come from the other side as well. So I'm very much a case of considering the particular issue at the time without a party affiliation.
Thank you for that. Okay, Raywin, what box number?
13. Lucky for Raywin. And that's X.
So X for X-ray.
And the question is, would you consider advocating for more safe pedestrian crossings on our main arterial routes, such as Kimbolton Road?
Well, based on some hard research, I maybe would advocate for that, but I'd need to know what areas are most needed, whether that be Kimbolton Road or not. But I would leave that up to our voting experts on that, and I would advocate for safety in all our streets.
And we have button from Colin.
I'm pleased you raised this question. It's certainly one of my hobby horses, and I've made personal submissions directly to council previously. As part of a group in a retirement village, such things are very important to us. But beyond that is, I think, the overriding question of the several quite hazardous intersections that we have in our town. And I well understand the council has done a lot to try and convince Waka Kotahi of the benefit of improving some of these. But one of my particular interests would be to continuing very much the pressure to put on NZTA to ensure that we can do some improvement at least 3 of the major intersections that I'm well aware of that are a huge traffic hazard and particularly also involve pedestrian crossings. Thank you.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
Let's have number 2, please.
Box number 2. The letter Z. And the question is, what's one big opportunity or challenge you see for the district?
I think it's really building on and investing into infrastructure and services while we strive towards a sort of better overall goal as a community. We obviously have to be considerate of budgetary constraints and, sorry, 1 second. Budgetary constraints and relation to how we use that money in regards to the cost of living. Thank you.
Okay, let's get back to Colin. What box number?
Number 3. Very adjacent. Letter F for Fred. And the question is, there's been much media coverage about candidates' behaviour towards their fellow candidates right over the country. What are your personal values that make you a suitable candidate to be a councillor?
Yes, I'm certainly aware that a previous Prime Minister suffered incredible abuse and personal attack, and I realise that's sometimes a case of having to have a thick skin in this job. But I guess what I particularly bring to this position, if I was elected, is a very much a focus on people. I very much enjoy connecting with people, listening to people, and sorting things out. So whether that's been in business or whether it's been within the community in the leadership roles that I've taken in several different organisations, I've respected people, I've listened to what they say, and I'm very much part of wanting to seek contributions within a council team.
We've got some of the camera. Oh, what the hell's happened on there? I knocked out number 4. Oh, number 1. Okay. Rowan, what box number?
25. We have letter K. And the question is, how do you plan to use deliberative democracy to ensure residents can directly contribute to the challenges our urban rural community faces?
Thank you. When does my time start?
Yep. So
Right.
what happens when camera 1 went offline?
So how can I use democracy to contribute to challenges for urban and rural community, the community faces? Well, it's all about long-term plan and the annual plan. So we need our community to engage. We need our rangatahi to engage to be part of the process so that they can know what's happening. They can contribute to what's the local government acts, all the policies that we have. So I would promote that through connecting with all people in our community, especially the youth.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
Could I have number 17, please?
Number 17 coming up,
Yes, I've got a prime number.
and that is letter L.
Letter L for Okay, I'm just hoping we don't have echo feedback, but I will try my best.
Testing. Check. Check. Test. Check. 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 I'll speak louder, and then I'll probably feedback in the microphone.
Okay, letter L. Do you think that Maori wards such as our own Ngā Tapuai o Matangi Maori ward strengthen democracy? Why or why not?
Yes, I think they do. I think they provide a viewpoint that may not normally be considered. And even if that voice is maybe not in agreement with everyone, at the least avoidance, the sort of variety of ideas that are being brought to the table, especially in regards to decisions made by council.
And we have a button from Rowan.
Yes, I'd like to add to that. I believe the moral compass of our local community is changing and shifting. And I believe we as people in the Manawatu are inclusive. We want people to have their say. I think it's good to have shared knowledge. There's only one vote if you're voting for the Māori ward. You get one vote, and only the people on the Māori ward get to have that vote. No one is going to be deprived by the existence of a Māori ward.
Okay, Colin, what box number?
Number 1. Kelly's eye. And that's the letter Y. So Auckland Council has recently shifted to taking away recycling bins of people who mix in general waste with their recycling. Should Manawatu District Council consider removing recycling bins for doing the same thing?
The short answer is I don't believe they should be removed. It seems not really the solution to obviously the problem, which surely is to do more with education. We're all keen, I think, to be part of recycling and to be part of the whole green conservation philosophy, which really does affect so much of our lives now. So no, I'm still a keen recycler. Okay, people do make mistakes, but I'm sure that education, labelling, information is the way around that problem rather than removing the opportunity to recycle. Thank you.
Okay, Rowan, what box number?
Box number 26, please.
26. The letter is U. With a largely rural area covered by the council, but some local success stories in terms of industrial growth in areas like Feilding, how can the council best support economic growth across industries and sectors?
No, it's not an easy question to answer. Economic growth for our businesses, it's all about our people, I think. Councils can help with that. But I think our connections that we have in our local development area, our connections with the distribution hub, that's a big factor that will play into increasing our ability to export and growth for our economy. But connecting with our iwi, connecting with our students, in general connecting so that we together can come up with solutions to and innovative ideas for creating a growth in our economy.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
21, please.
21.
Oh yes, the age of voting until I think the 1960s. Know that because my grandma first voted in the 1949 general election.
Right, key of the door 21, letter S. Manawatu District Council has some cycleways along its arterial routes throughout the district. Is this a core function that Manawatu District Council should provide, or is it a nice to have?
I think the question is strangely put because, cycleways and cyclists, every cyclist off the road is a car off the road in most cases. So when there's cyclists moving about, there's less cars, there's less congestions. So instead of, I think about it as cars versus bikes in regards to the musts and the wants, it's more sort of a broad, a sort of broad idea of that all transport is sort of like working together to help within the district. If that's very clear, if not, trying to sort of, one second. So in a broad way, it's cars and cyclists are sort of working. Sorry.
You'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice to have, but obviously we have to decide whether or not it's going to be a major part of any future planning. That's all.
Okay, Colin, what box number?
17's gone. Yep, 9 is still here. Would you like me to take the used boxes off the table?
Oh, yes, please.
Would that
Yes,
be good?
when you're free, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Letter J. Spending needs to happen within budget without increasing rates. What services or luxuries will you stop?
Yes, well, I certainly understand the pressure on local bodies throughout New Zealand with the central government giving a push to not investing or not funding things that are other than real basic infrastructure. I disagree entirely. Certainly, infrastructure and the maintenance and the quality of it is important, but when you look at the value of our rates here locally, something around 35% of it already goes into that part of our funding and our investment. So it's well cared for, and there is an opportunity still to do things to improve our lifestyle. We enjoy living in Feilding. It's a wonderful semi-rural environment, and I think it's most important that the council continues to foster, fund, support activities, facilities, events, things like the museum, things like Kitchener Park are wonderful assets to our lifestyle. So it's not all about infrastructure, whilst that is important.
Raywin, what box number?
Is 23 there?
Yes. Letter E. Do you think council is doing enough to maintain Manawatu District Council's rural roads?
Rural roads, I think the council are doing the sensible things, the fundamentals, and this is a multi-year contract with NZTA as co-funders. But there's pressures with costs rising, and it's unlikely to be enough to eliminate road deterioration quickly in the rural areas. But what can we do about it? Let's be positive. Going forward, we can encourage community-led asset reporting from local committees. We can lobby targeted funding, applying to NZTA for emergency and resilience funds, and we can ask for higher revenue to budget in the next annual plan.
And Daniel, what box number?
Could I have number 18, please?
You can indeed. Letter D. What is your view on residential, commercial and industrial growth in the district?
I will admit it's not my specialty, so I understand it's a fact of life. There's always going to be this sort of aspect. I think as long as the council takes into effect that any growth has to be considered, and the long-term effects it has on the district or the just Feilding itself has to be taken into account. Yes, that's all I've got to say on that.
And we have a button from Colin.
Yeah, clearly the planning and the development of growth generally in our community is an important part of council's function. And I think I'm correct in saying that the the population increase in Feilding itself during the last decade is a greater percentage proportion than even the city. So we're growing quite fast. But I'm delighted to see in the 10-year long-term plan, the annual plan, the growth strategy plan, which has just been introduced, proper provision for formulated growth in the right areas, with rezoning also occurring in some instances. So it's important to continue growth in a very balanced, managed and careful way, and I believe this council's done a really good job doing that.
Okay, Colin, you get the next box number. Nearly put me off my scent there. I was like, in my head, it's like, so where am I on the list?
What box number, Colin? 22. Great, number 22, my birthday. Letter T. What do you see as the main difference between Maori landowners and hapu in terms of their relationship with Manawatu District Council?
Yes, I would have some difficulty answering that with precision or with informative comment. I can only say that I realise that Maori ownership is fundamental, it's important, it's part of our whole country and settlement. Within my Citizens Advice Bureau role, I sometimes get to help people through the land court intricacies of applying for ownership or bequests. So I do understand it's a very involved and structured process, but one that seems to be progressively working. And I do certainly support the idea of having Maori representation on our council.
Raywin. Oh, you want to put a button as well? Well, button before we get to your question.
Sure, I'll just button on that. I believe council's working with iwi at the moment, with RMA, for local papakainga. So that enables, that will enable our iwi people that have land, that they will be able to build up to 10 houses and that on a papakainga, if I've got that right. But so that's a positive thing going forward.
Now, your box number, Rowan.
Box number 1, please.
1 is gone,
2.
has gone, but I can sell you 4.
4. Going once, going twice, Michael. Number 4.
So, for box number 4.
And we have letters AA, which is Automobile Association, or the other one. Do you support household food waste collection to stop organic waste from going to the landfill?
AA, yes. Don't need that advice, but from AA. Thank you, though. Yes, absolutely. I'd support any innovative policies or works that the council has put in place to relieve our. Got the question? What was AA again?
Autocratics Anonymous?
Oh, yeah.
Something we're not doing here.
So, yeah, feel free to butt in, guys.
Yep. Daniel, we've got a button.
It's an interesting question, but I think if it can go ahead, it should. But my only concern is in regards to contaminating organic waste. If we keep, rubbish is mixed within recycling, as we've had with other questions mentioning this. If it's going to be dumped somewhere separately, if other non-organic stuff is entering into that mix and also being dumped with that, that's my only concern. Thanks.
And your box number now, Daniel.
No, box number 5, please.
Box number 5. There's an M. Concerning the central government's messaging about councils being a core reason for the cost of living crisis due to wasteful spending, do you think this is the case? Why or why not?
I think we've been very lucky with this council. I've heard that some other councils haven't been so good with their spending, but I think it's very much a case of the government trying to pass on the blame for the cost of living crisis onto the council rather than them taking accountability in some way. Thanks.
You've already used your 2 buttons.
We're dividing the buttons from the people that didn't turn up, so we get to button more.
So I'm not sure. We'll put that in the audience. Should we sit down there and do it? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Thank goodness there's silence. The ayes have it. Let's sit there and we'll give each candidate an extra button.
Thanks for butting in. Well, I think this is a real elephant in the room and a real hobby horse at the moment, isn't it, as to how much the central government should take responsibility for so much of what they pass on to local bodies to have to introduce, implement, investigate, comply with, and so on. So there's always a lot of costs each year that come from legislation. I understand that hardly 2 weeks goes by and there isn't something that comes into our local council from central government requiring some sort of cost or action. And I'm encouraged, coming back to the point, that the Manawatu District Council has the brilliance, indeed, of being in the lowest 5 council rates annual increases in the last decade for the whole of New Zealand. That's wonderful.
Well, since we're back there, Colin, you get the next box number. And for those who are wondering why I was running across the studio, the auto timer for that TV to turn off message popped up.
What number would you like, Colin?
What's this third box?
14? It's as good as any. Letter V. If you are elected as a councillor, will you decelerate council spending on unwanted grand projects and concentrate on vital, necessary infrastructure needs such as roading?
Okay, well, certainly the infrastructure, things like wastewater, water supply, stormwater, roading and curbside are fundamental things that is expected of ratepayers of council. But when you look at the current proportion of rates that go into those costs, 54.17% of our rates feeds into those particular costs. So I do believe that fundamentally that balance of over 50% into basic infrastructure is doing a reasonably good job. But there's always some scope, even though it's in the lesser part of the budget, to ensure that there are other things that we can do within our community, within our lifestyle, things like, as I mentioned before, things like library and Manfield and the STEAM Society, the museum and so on. So the style of living is very important as well.
And we got a button from Raywin.
It's my 3rd button, I think.
Yeah, and I'm taking down notes.
Right. So as a council, we could come up with alternatives for funding, like we did with the clock tower. So that was mainly funded by pledging from public and other alternative. It wasn't government funded. I believe they just did the underwriting of that project. So government didn't really fund. There were big water issues at that time. So people were really upset if we would use funding for a clock tower as opposed to what was really necessary, the water. So yeah, we had alternative funding for that. So we just need to be creative. When you've got no money, you be creative, right?
So Raywin, You get the next box number.
Number 10, please.
Number 10. Letter B. Do you support political party endorsement of local government candidates?
Depends which party, Michael.
Do you support the fact that both Jerry Pickford and Aaron McLeod are not here today, who are representing the ACT Party?
Sorry, what question number was that?
B for
Okay,
Bravo.
Yeah. Adding to the question now. Okay, so I'd support all any candidate that stands up, because standing up here is not easy, and not all of us are brave enough to do that. So whoever sits here, whether ACT or National, wherever, I would support them. Maybe not their policies, but as a person, I would support them. Maybe the policies, not so much. But I believe we, in this democratic process, we all get to have a voice, and then the people will vote. So it doesn't matter who you are, the people will make that decision at the end of the day based on your policies.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
Could I have number 11, please?
Box 11, letter W. Why do you think that you're right for the role as councillor?
Good question. Well, I hope to be an approachable, open candidate who can collaborate with anyone. Obviously, not all the time I would agree with someone, but I would at least think I'd take the chance to talk and discuss and maybe find out what we disagree on, how we can change that, how we can compromise on that, and see where we can go from there. Thanks.
Okay, Colin, what box number?
6. Letter H. Do you support the central government introducing rate caps onto local authorities, and why?
I seem to be getting the same sort of questions all the time.
There's a theme there, Colin.
I think that would be pretty hazardous. I certainly understand why some ratepayers in various other parts of New Zealand would be quite fervent about that being a very good idea. But clearly, in the water situation, the Three Waters has very much reinforced the differences in respect of councils around New Zealand regarding their lag in respect of what's still to be done in terms of water quality and water articulation. We're lucky here, of course, that our council's done a splendid job. So it very much depends around the country just how much is still to be done. And we all want some very basic services and qualities preserved. But I certainly don't generally favour that as a solution. I think proper financial management and proper governance really are the better solutions.
And just my cheeky jab before we go in there, who would be satisfied to have rate caps at the price increase of vegan butter, which has barely moved in the last 12 months? And I'm sure that figure sounds great, but it's a recipe for disaster. Considering we all know how the price of cow's butter has gone up in price, it's ridiculous. Okay, Raywin, what box number?
12. Yep, 12.
Gee, your eyesight's better than mine. I'm like kind of guessing, but I can't quite see what the numbers are.
Letter R. Manawatu District Council doesn't have many places where tactical tiles
Yes.
are in use on footpaths to assist users who are vision impaired to know where it's safe to cross the road and what type of crossing they are using. Is this a core function that Manawatu District Council should provide, or is that a nice to have?
I did look up to see how many, the population of blind people in New Zealand. It's 30,000, I believe. So in Feilding, I have no idea. But based on the population, it would be a nice to have.
Daniel, what box number?
Could I have number 19, please?
19. Yes, indeed. Letter Q. Issues around climate change are becoming more important. What are your thoughts on supporting anaerobic digestion of food waste to produce biogas, similar to the plant in Reparoa? Please note, this is not incineration of general waste.
And just so that, it's O for Oscar on that one. I only know that because that would be on the graphics differences for Paul, who's putting the names on the screen.
Now, I'm not too familiar with this, but I'd have to look more into that. But the only concern is if the biogas was being used for, local power production, or if it's being used to export. That's my main concern about that question. Aside from that, thanks.
We have a motion from Colin to allow candidates to have 4 buttons. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank goodness with the silence. The ayes have it. Colin's allowed a 4th button. And Daniel still has still seeing it 1.
Thank you for digesting that properly. All right, so the research that I've looked at indicates that anaerobic digestion of food waste is promising, but is not yet really widely applied. The quality, composition, and the CH4 potential of different food wastes are certainly hard to put together. The co-digestion with animal manure and sewerage sludge are still practical options, and so on. But clearly, there's a lot more pioneering work yet to be done before that's a practical and money for value option.
And Colin, you get the next box number. Oh, we don't know. Pick a box number.
This one, 28. Letter C. Should rural communities have a say in the operation of council-owned rural water schemes?
Yes, I understand that this may be a bit of a local issue, and of course I'd need to know a lot more about it before I could give an informed opinion. But on the surface, it seems to make some sense that within our democratic process, that water reticulation that's going through landowners' property should at least be perhaps shared. But I imagine it's about engineering and costs. But I think in principle, whilst I agree, clearly there are some issues that would have to be solved before that would become practical.
Rowan, a box number.
Number 7, please.
Letter G. The Government and Taxpayers Union have been accusing councils of being irresponsible with large percentage rate increases. What is your view?
I think that's great for the government to be looking at local councils and butting in. Sorry, they don't have that card, but unfortunately they do. I think central government need to trust in the leadership here for locals, that we know our grassroots, we know what our people need, and they should leave it for local leaders to lead the path for the people. And they know their people. Government is just an overarching, overreaching, I should say, into local government, and I'd prefer that they would stay out of it personally, so that we can do what we know is good for our people.
And we got a button from Daniel.
This is question G, right?
Gee, it's on the screen. It's
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So
Yes, it is.
in regards to what the government and taxpayers unions have said, I think they've taken a rather broad brush to the sort of particular issues that each council faces. I think they're sort of piggybacking on the popular appeal of not liking rates increases and sort of pushing forward this idea of every council should be following this idea rather than each council sort of sorting its own problem out. Thanks.
And you get the next box number. Yeah.
Number 20, please.
Letter P. Now this one's all about Newtown and Wellington.
P for Papa. The question will say on the sheet it's got there in the graphics, the obvious. Oh God, have we mixed up another card? Okay, yep.
Shall I read this?
Yes, read that. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because we don't want to talk about my home suburb from my good old friend Claire Nolan.
I've got some views on Newtown, but anyway. Do you support the fitting of solar panels to council buildings to offset daytime electricity use? There was a missed opportunity with the build of the new library and the rerouting of the council building. Re-roofing, that should be.
It's a good idea, but it all depends about expenses, I think. If it's a feasible option and it's not an extreme expense and it can be considered within, the plan of what the council building will be, and if we look at how it would actually be on a day-to-day basis, whether it offset much of the energy use, I think if it's good, do it. If it's not feasible, just leave it alone.
Colin, what box number?
Number 8. And that is AB, letters AB. What's the biggest priority for the next term, and how do you intend on delivering on that?
My understanding is that the long-term plan, the 10-year plan, isn't able to be amended or altered by procedure, but I need to be corrected if that's wrong. So clearly that's the Bible, that's the structure, and it includes in there the whole plan of investment and progress. And of course, each year that's supplemented by the annual plan process, which is a very democratic process involving all sorts of submissions and so on, which are then considered. So we currently have an annual plan which sets out what's happening in 25, 26, I think it is. So really it's a case of looking at the annual plan, ensuring that the fundamentals are budgeted and the discretionary things are prioritised.
Okay, Raywin, what box number?
We've got 15, 24, 27. 27.
It's a nice, good number. 9 questions per candidate.
Letter N for Nigel. What will you do to stop poor council expenditure, allocate resources to critical infrastructure, and rein in huge increases?
What will I do? Well, as a team member, because I can't do anything on my own, I need the support of the people around the table. So what I'd do would be a integral team member to sort through the figures, the finances, the consultants' recommendations, and then I would help to allocate expenditure and resources where needed. So cost benefit is big. What it will mean for the people is huge. So I will be voting with the team on best outcomes.
Okay, Daniel, what box number?
I'll have 24, thanks.
That's letter O. Issues around climate change are becoming more important. We've had this one.
So how did we get with Q on that one?
Yeah.
Should we interchange that with Q, or should we just go to the next box?
Well, I was going to defer on cue, so we can go to the next box if you want.
Go to the next box. Yep. Okay.
Next box is 15.
The age of when most of us got our driver's licenses.
Indeed. Letter I. Do you support implementing safer speed limits around our schools within the Manawatu district territorial limits?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Obviously, I think we have a few places now where we have that in place, but in a sort of broader sense, I'm not sure how much more there can be done. I mean, I think there's a sort of standard around schools for speed limits, but if people feel like those are still too high, I'm sure something can be looked at. Thanks.
And it looks like we've ran out of questions. Get there. Okay, so we will take a quick break there. Now, I'm just going to try to remember which camera I'm on. Yep. But before we go, would like to sit there and mention a bit of housekeeping of what happens with It's in the Ballot. We're a small, non-profit, supporter-funded organisation. Now, these shows aren't free to run, so they do cost a little bit of money to operate. So if you would like to, you're welcome to get one of our, kohas without emissions options on our Eventbrite link. You can also go to our Give a Little page and put a donation in there. You can also go to our merch store done by Print Mighty. You can buy some of our merchandise, or you can also go to our bank account. In order to bring this It's in the Ballot show, we'd like to thank the Manawatu District Council for funding for the venue hire of $845. At the moment, it's the only council that has done it, and the only council who has shown interest other than Manawatu is Bay of Plenty Regional Council. It also costs to sit there, and is $14 a day to pay for Starlink to broadcast to the world as I'd like to sit there and say this while holding my tongue, a quality service provider. And also we pay $31 a day for Restream, and our fuel allowance budget is $200 to allow for 2 vehicles to get between our bases and our venues and back. So if you would like to help out, a koha donation or anything like that will go a long way to helping providing this brilliant voter information to all our voters out there. And I'd like to also thank you, Michael, as the Mayor-elect, for stepping in as our question host. And jumping in. It's always good to see, as in this situation of unopposed, still coming out to see the voters.
Very interested, and I've enjoyed it. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. Okay. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back for hard-hitting questions. Don't hit intermission. Hit air break. Oh, okay. As long as it's the one that doesn't play the copyright music. To guide and take a stand, community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds
builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor and line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor and line. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot.
ahead. Okay, and welcome back to the show. We are now going to get in time for hard-hitting questions.
Hard-hitting questions. We don't get any good money. What does a question? Because every candidate has answered the hard-hitting questions.
So, hard-hitting questions are the questions we give to all candidates to answer. They can't use their button cards. They can't use their defer cards. They have to sit there and answer all of the questions. You might need to switch cameras on which one I am. I didn't realise I was on the big one, but that's all good. So let's kick off with hard-hitting question number one. Do you think the council is doing enough in terms of wastewater treatment and disposal? And we'll refresh the random order number. No, I don't like that option. Raywin, you get to go first.
Great, thank you. So, council has put priority for us to govern water ourselves with Water Done Well. So that's a plus for us. Locally, we can we know our water better, and we don't need to answer to anyone else about what's good for us. So I think that's a plus. Clearly, they've prioritised wastewater with the centralising of the water treatment plant in Feilding. So all villages will have their wastewater pumped centrally, so that will be more efficient than the smaller villages. What else? I think, bottom line, we should commend our council for their efforts. We just need to look at the change in the Oberoi River. It's better, but we can still do better. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Daniel.
Sweet. Yeah, I think the council's done a good job, especially for the long-term planning in regards to wastewater. I think they've spent a decent amount of time planning, and they've invested, I think, for a decent amount in the future. Obviously, it's all about maintaining what we've got, ensuring what we've got for the future, and making sure we're ready to go. And I think the council's done a great job of that. Thanks.
Okay, Colin.
Yeah, I also commend the council. This has certainly been one of the priority projects in recent times. And when you think what's been achieved, it is pretty remarkable. The 8 different water supplies that are around the region within the district council, with the focus, of course, on the Armidale water treatment plant pumping back into Feilding, is all working very well. So I also understand that the auditing of the Three Waters situation here locally indicated that the current quality and processing exceeds expectations. So apparently we're well ahead of the game compared to many other councils around the region. But this continues to be, of course, an important part of council's focus and operation, and I look forward to contributing to the continuing quality of maintaining this.
Okay, let's kick off for hard-hitting question number 2. Are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position? Let's kick off with Raywin.
Yes, we just need to look at the rates increase. That's one of the lowest, well, 4th lowest in New Zealand. Based over 3 years, we are very low. Also, the sorry, got a mind blank. Yep, that's enough from me.
Okay, Daniel.
Right. Yeah, I think the council's been. I'm comfortable with the way the council's been managing it. I think they've been planning long term, and of course that means spending money. And I think they've decided to go for the best method of just spreading out these costs, and whatever debt the council's in, they've obviously made plans to ensure that it's properly paid and there's not overly big of a burden on residents and ratepayers. Thanks.
Colin.
Yeah, my understanding is that the council does have a debt cap, and on top of that debt cap is a $5 million buffer, just in case there's another emergency like Gabrielle or something else that has to be dealt with. So this seems a very prudent and successful way to manage the debt. And in terms of the three waters, of course, the central government is attempting to entice councils into that by offering bigger increased ratios of borrowing to capital investment. So it's unsure just whether that'll occur. But at the moment, I think we're happy and comfortable with the debt cap and the way in which that works.
Okay, and let's get ready for hard-hitting question number 3. I believe the most important question for local body elections. What is your position on retaining the now? Apologies if I get this one wrong. Ngā Te Pue o Matangi Māori Ward for Manawatu District Council, or the Rako Māori constituency for the Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? Let's kick off with Raywin.
I mentioned before when I butted in on your question about Māori wards. And so, yes, I think that we need that shared knowledge. We need to show some mutual respect. We need to be inclusive. Locally, we are. So unfortunately, centrally, people are telling us that we need to vote again, which we just implore that hopefully you will vote for your moral compass on being inclusive to the Māori ward. And like I said before, you won't be deprived if there's a Māori ward. You won't lose anything by having a Māori ward.
Daniel.
Okay, I'm in favour of retaining it. I think it's been a benefit to have such a collaborative approach in regards to council. I think it's good that we're trying to sort of include this sort of approach. Unfortunately, I think at the end of the day, it'll be up to the voters to decide what they want to do with the ward, and it'll just eventually they will have to be the final answer on that question.
For Colin.
Yes, well, as we know, there is to be a referendum. I can only say in my own case, I would very much support the inclusion of a Māori ward councillor. And I think the particular experience that we've had locally with the intellect and contribution which our Māori ward councillor Bridget continues to make at the council table is to be greatly respected and indeed admired. So I think we're extremely fortunate here that within the multitude of iwi that we do have in our region, that we've got a person who is able to represent very well, and indeed within our democracy, I think it's very much to be encouraged that we continue in this way.
Now, I've realised I've jumped the gun a little bit here, but we do have response from Sam Hills for the free hard-hitting questions. So, Nick, it will be on the restream one. Can you play each of those free hard-hitting questions on there one after another, please? Yeah, just click on it and it will take a couple of seconds to work.
When it comes to debt, the council takes a very responsible approach to borrowing. The pre-election report showed that the council is consistently tracking lower than the borrowing limit set in the financial strategy. Also, public feedback and community consultation was very clear that ratepayers want affordability, value for money, and borrowing for only core services such as roads, footpaths, and water, which I fully support. If I am elected to council, I will bring careful financial management, protect our borrowing limits, and make sure that each dollar spent brings real value to the community. In any strong democracy, it is really everybody within a district and representation at the council table. Māori have a long and intergenerational connection to this land, and it's really important that Māori have a representation at the council table to allow for more balanced decision making, for example, in the area of community resilience and community cohesion. We've seen since the inception of Ngā Tāpuai o Mātangi Māori Ward and the presence of Bridget Bell as the Māori Ward Councillor, the connection between council with iwi, hapu and whānau go from strength to strength, and this can only be of benefit to the district and the community as a whole.
Not loaded. Okay, we'll hold off the last one until it's actually properly loaded onto Restream. So we'll get to candidates' closing statements of why they should receive one of your 5 ticks Feilding General Ward on why they should be your next elected councillors. And I'll just refresh the random order sheet again. And Daniel, you get to go first.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the It's the Ballot team for having us here. I think they've done a great job, and I think if you've been watching this, you should be able to say and understand what we've all been trying to talk about here today. I think there is a sort of general idea that, you know, council we should be open, we should be positive, we should be looking towards what we can do. And I think I'm one of those people. I hope I can be the approachable person you can come to if you've got a problem or if you want to discuss something or if you've got an idea. And I just would like to work towards that with you. Thanks.
Okay, Colin.
Whilst I acknowledge there's a principal role to ensure that our basic services and infrastructure are good for purpose, I'm also very keen to protect Council's vital role in funding relevant facilities and encouraging community, social, cultural and recreation activities and events. I'm attracted to Mayor Helen's theme, bringing the community into Council. I especially want Manawatu to represent the very best as an attractive environment for bringing up families, as well as offering a safe and comfortable place for growing old in. I will actively support business growth, keep rates increased to modest levels, pursue a solution to our heritage townscape, seek to add value to our recreational assets and facilities, and to pressure Waka Kotahi to meet our local road safety concerns. I'm a motivator who thrives on challenges and projects, and I get things done. Elect me, a man of responsible action and governance oversight.
And Raywin.
I've worked in this community. I know this community, grassroots. I've walked to this town and visited all the businesses every month for 11 years with Feilding Promotion. I've worked alongside volunteers, and I want to continue to make Feilding the best of its kind in the world. I'm approachable, enthusiastic, and I'm ready to return to public service with a strong commitment to the people and their connection to this land, their connection to one another, intergenerational connection. I want to advocate for that. I want to bring our community together with purpose. I want pastoral pathways to employment, education and housing. I want to support youth to lead with stewardship. I'd like fresh initiatives for business and economic development. also mental health advocacy, which is top priority for me.
Okay, we now have, so we'll finish off with Sam's last hard-hitting question that's not in there, plus also his closing statement.
We have a really awesome and state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facility at Kawakawa Road. This is really important in order to safeguard the water, particularly the Oroa River, for drinking water, swimming, and for fishing. What I really like about the facility at Kawakawa Road is the huge constructed wetland. I believe it's one of the largest constructed wetlands in the whole of New Zealand. Wetlands are really good not only for their water filtration and water cleaning functions, but also for protection against flooding. They act as nature's sponges, but also harbouring of indigenous biodiversity, and also for carbon sequestration. And I would love to see more of these constructed wetlands across the region if we can identify the appropriate areas and if we have the appropriate funding for these.
And then
So why should you vote for me? Well, first of all, I bring a wealth of experience, knowledge and expertise, particularly in my area of the sciences in community health and the natural sciences. And in this area, I bring also lots of leadership and strategy experience and skills, which I'll also bring to the council table. I also bring lots of passion, relatability and authenticity. And furthermore, I bring a fresh perspective, a brand new energy and future focused thinking, which are things that I believe the council truly needs right now. So I will reiterate my message to you earlier that I'd be absolutely honoured to have your vote. Thank you.
now we have a bit of time left, so here's a fluff question I'd like to ask. So you have somehow magically ended up at a lovely place called the Newtown Fruit and Vegetable Market, possibly because you've got a relative at that hospital, Wellington Hospital on Saturday, and it's across the road. And you need a coffee, and you come to a nice, lovely barista named Sam Summers, myself, and you'd like to order a coffee. What type of coffee would you order, and why do you like that type of coffee? Who'd like to kick off first? Yeah.
A hot chocolate, please, because I don't drink coffee.
I appreciate your offer, but honestly, I haven't got time. I've got other things to do.
I was trying to suck money out of you.
A flat white.
Flat
Flat
white.
white, because you shouldn't taint the coffee, the goodness of the coffee with caramel or chocolate.
I like your reasoning. I like your reasoning. See, I like the flavour shots because that brings in more margins. But on the other hand, I understand exactly where you're coming from. Well, for myself, usually when we're on the road, it's a coconut mocha. And the reason why I go for coconut milk is because I'm allergic to cow's milk. So that's something on there, including Nick, who's behind the desk there. Was it coconut lattes, is it now? Are you still putting sugar in them? The whole point of getting going coconut was to stop putting in sugar. Yeah. So going on that. So thank you for the candidates for coming today to sit there and do that. I understand we only got 3 out of, was it 3 who have been here in person and 2 in spirit, and 4, well, fingers crossed they sit down. 5. 5 candidates. Oh, no, yeah, 4 candidates who we don't know where they are, and 1 who's enjoying the Sabbath. So thank you for taking the time of coming out and spoiling us and our viewers with your questions and answers. And I'm sure we've prepared you very well for when Jack Tame interviews you on Q&A one day. As I always say, the standard. We can prepare you for Jack Tame, and Jack Tame's the biggest one to sit there and do. Can I also thank Nick, who has been dual rolling today, both cameras and the broadcasting computer, just for those who are wondering why it's been a bit of a jumping act between them. Our Stream Deck that normally sits there and does it, that could make it work with smooth precision, did not work. And I'd also like to thank our remote editor, Paul, for jumping in today to sit there and making things work. So Stacey can have some time off. Can also thank Stacey for doing all the graphics, all the hard work that she does as a producer. Thank Nick for doing all the candidate liaison stuff in the background. And for Linda, who today was running my business for the coffee cart, so I could be here with you guys to bring It's in the Ballot from a presenting capacity. And I'd like to thank, was it Michael for jumping in as question host? And I'd like to thank our audience for taking their time today and participating in here. It's not easy coming into a new community to sit there and bring our show, but I'm glad the Manawatu has fully embraced us. No problem. Make sure you get the microphone so the audience at home can hear you. Yeah. Okay. We'll be back here tomorrow at 1 o'clock for Raki. Is that how you say the Māori one for the regional council? Raki Māori constituency? Yep. And then later on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. for the Feilding Feilding Rural Ward. So we'll see you then. Have a good evening.